Coming up tonight, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is on Capitol Hill today. Senators grill him over the Trump administration's vaccine policies.
Driving down the road through smoke and you couldn't see the road. The flames overcome and ended up in the back bed of the truck and caught the truck on fire.
Plus, efforts continue on the ground and in the air to get control of several wildfires in California. Tonight, just how much progress has been made. And Italian fashion designer Giorgio Armani has passed away. We take a look back at his career in the fashion industry through the past 5 decades. Thanks for joining us here on WTOL 11 Plus now, Toledo's only local live full 30-minute exclusively streaming newscast on WTOL 11 Plus. I'm Kaylee Maritet. Jeff Smith is off tonight. Our top story for the night, the Toledo-Lucas County Public Library System is hoping to add a new branch to South Toledo. Library officials are going to the Plan Commission to try and get this property on Detroit Avenue near Glendale rezoned next week. This is part of the library solution to funding cuts after the board voted to close the Toledo Heights branch last week. Megan Hartnett has more.
The Toledo-Lucas County Public Library is facing a $2.8 million deficit going into 2026.
We floated a deficit this past year in part because we were not sure where the public library fund was going to land.
40% of the library system's operating budget is funded through the Public Library Fund. In the state budget, this fund has been a percentage of the general revenue. But this year, the General Assembly and Governor approved a state budget that moved it to a line item allocation. Library officials say this has resulted in a $25 million decrease in funding compared to last year. State Representative Josh Williams says this wasn't a cut, rather a stabilization of funding for libraries. He says this is an allocation issue.
At the same time that they're shutting down these branches, they're also building brand new libraries on Alexis and in other locations that are more modern. This is a choice of where they want their funds.
But Jason Kuchma with the library says money being used to build new branches and renovations is from a fund separate than the operating budget.
I believe that Representative Williams was conflating the fact that our library recently received support from our community members to issue $153 million in bond work, which is allowing us to do capital work throughout the entire system.
Kuchma says the lack of state funding and inflation is what led the board to close and consolidate the Toledo Heights branch with Heather Downs and build a new one.
For us, it's really about making the best, the smartest decisions about using public taxpayer dollars that we've been very fortunate and privileged to steward. And so we want to make sure that we're putting these dollars to the best use.
The library is also reducing hours at 5 branches, and layoffs are a possibility. Other library systems are feeling similar pain. The Wood County Public Library is eliminating 3 staff positions that have been vacant since this year, and the Findlay Hancock Public Library has announced it no longer will be providing access to the digital resource Hoopla.
Kind of reaching the limits of what we can just absorb with some cuts to the funding that will be coming in, and it means we've got to, make careful choices about what we're going to be able to do in the future.
Megan Hartnett is joining us tonight in studio. Megan, when talking with the executive director of the Toledo Library System, did he mention any ways that people in the community can help and get involved?
He did. Jason said that in a lot of situations like this, people have to remember that their voice and their vote matters because their senators, their representatives, they're the ones who are in Columbus. They're the ones who are making these decisions and voting on these budgets. So he says it's important for people to remember to contact their representatives and say that they want to support the libraries. And it also matters when they have levies on the ballot, too, for voters to show up. So he said, in situations like this, voting is one of the greatest ways that people can show their support for library funding.
Sure. And of course, this all comes down to money here. Did he say anything about if people have concerns about how the library spends that money?
Yeah, and that's something he said he knows people are always going to have concerns when there's a public entity and how they spend taxpayer dollars and all sorts of other money. He says that one of the important things he wants to remind people is that the library does, of course, provide free books and literacy, but it's so much more than that. He said there are so many other services that they have, whether it's just even free printing. I know that's one that they have here in Toledo, which is such a great, wonderful free resource for people who may need it. So he says it's important to remind remind people that they also do health screenings. They partner with a lot of other things in the community. So they do a lot more than just books. And so they try and show that. He says, go to our library, look at everything we do, look at all the people that we partner with, and you can see that we do so much more than just letting people check out a book.
Check out books, rent books, yeah. So, Megan, you also spoke with the director of the Hancock-Finley County Public Library, and they're cutting Hoopla. First of all, can you explain what Hoopla is for people who don't know?
It's it's a digital resource. So, I mean, it gives you access to ebooks, audiobooks, even some movies and TV. It's something that they say, a lot of people love having access to, but there's other ways to access it. So that's part of the reason why they're cutting it. They said it's only accounts for roughly 4% of their circulation that they do. So, but it costs 20% of their budget. So they said that just didn't make sense for them to do. And that's the biggest cut that they're having to do with this current change from the state budget. But they said in the future, there could be other cuts, but right now they've put themselves in a position that's where they feel safe, even though they rely on their budget is 67% of it is from the state. So they said they've done everything they can and they're hopefully feeling good moving towards the future. But of course, other cuts in services are always a possibility.
So more of just feeling in limbo, I guess, right now.
Yeah, and that's something that, I think all of the library systems that we've talked to, they seem to say everyone's feeling it. I mean, Wood County, they're not filling 3 positions that have been open since the beginning of this year. They said, we're able to do that, but that accounted for 7% of their workforce. And the director said, they had a few people call off the other day. And he was like, and so then we're moving people around, and it's 3 people may not seem like a lot, but it really is for them. And so they don't know if there's going to be any other cuts, what other changes they're going to have to be making.
Mr. Secretary, what do you say to the Americans concerned about your vaccine policies?
Mr. Secretary, will you?
Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. appeared on Capitol Hill today. Senators on both sides of the aisle grilled him over the Trump administration's vaccine policies. Democrat Michael Bennet of Colorado voiced concerns about childhood vaccination recommendations set to be released in 2 weeks.
I'm asking the questions for Mr. Kennedy on behalf of parents and schools and teachers all over the United States of America who deserve so much better than your leadership. That's what this conversation is about, Mr. Chairman.
Senator, they deserve the truth, and that's what we're going to give them for the first time in the history of that agency.
Senators also questioned Kennedy over his decision to fire the director of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention after only 1 month on the job. Florida is moving to eliminate all vaccine mandates, becoming the first state in the nation to do so. The state surgeon general called the requirements immoral, saying parents should decide what goes into their children's bodies. But medical experts warn ending decades of school vaccine rules could trigger outbreaks of preventable diseases. The American Medical Association is urging Florida leaders to reconsider, calling the plan a threat to public health progress. Firefighters, they are making progress on several lightning-sparked wildfires in central California. 22 separate blazes compromised the TCU September Lightning Complex southeast of Sacramento. The fires have burned around 14,000 acres, including multiple homes in Chinese Camp, a historic gold rush town. Officials say many of these fires were fueled by dry vegetation, low humidity, and strong winds. A sad day in the fashion industry. Italian fashion designer Giorgio Armani has passed away at the age of 91. The Armani Group released a statement saying Armani died peacefully, surrounded by loved ones. In his early life, he studied medicine and served in the military. He became a window dresser and had a job for a Milan department store, which would eventually launch his fashion career. An early job designer, menswear set the stage for his iconic line. The Giorgio Armani brand launched in 1975, and his menswear quickly found U.S. success. It became routine to see stars wearing Armani clothing on the red carpet. Take a look at this. A worker got stuck while trying to repair stadium light bulbs 100 feet in the air. Plus, an unusual discovery at the bottom of the ocean, what one snorkeler ended up coming across on the West Coast.
We have another cool down into the weekend. It's going to bring a fall feel. How about highs back in the 60s, but a big warm up next week? How long will the dry weather stick around? We'll answer that. It's coming up next.
Right now, there's a video you have to see on our TikTok page. Several new laws will go into effect in Ohio soon. Sophia Pericone breaks down one of those laws.
Heads up, Ohio hunters and anglers, there's a new change coming thanks to a new law. Starting soon, people 65 and older will now qualify for discounted hunting and fishing licenses and permits. That's a year earlier than the old rule, which kicked in at 66. This covers everything from deer and turkey permits to fur taker, multi-year, and even lifetime licenses. However, the state says this will cost the Wildlife Fund a few $100,000 per year. But federal grant money tied to license sales won't be affected, since as long as Ohio collects at least $1 per license, it still counts. So what do you think? Smart savings for outdoorsmen or too costly for conservation? Click the drop down to find a link to more new laws taking effect in Ohio.
Make sure to follow us on our WTOL 11 TikTok page. There's plenty to watch, including the latest stories being talked about locally and nationally. Take a look at this. Emergency crews spent 2 hours working to rescue a worker after he got stuck on top of a stadium light fixture at an Arizona spring training facility. Police say the worker was roughly 100 feet in the air. According to fire crews, the employee was changing light bulbs when he got stuck, leaving him with a gash on his head. Firefighters used a ladder truck to get near the top, then climbed up the steep pole to reach the man before tethering him to a safety harness. He was then rappelled down and taken to the hospital. Pretty scary there. Well, the National Football League says next year there won't be any Friday night lights during the first week of its season next year. That's because of how the 2026 calendar falls. The Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961 bans professional leagues from having games on Fridays or Saturdays from the second Friday in September until the second Saturday in December. The NFL usually starts its season the Thursday after Labor Day, which is tonight. The holiday came earlier in the month during the last 2 seasons, including this current one. That allowed the league to hold Week 1 Friday games. Labor Day falls later next year on September 7th. The Powerball jackpot is now an eye-popping $1.7 billion. The drawing is Saturday night. This comes after no one claimed yesterday's $1.4 billion prize. So if a single ticket wins, the cash option would be roughly $770 million. That's the third largest jackpot in U.S. history. And as the jackpot climbs, more tickets will sell, meaning Saturday's prize could surpass that runner-up spot.
Maybe I'll get a ticket this time.
Maybe just we go in on it together.
We could splitsies on that, and,
yeah.
And the winnings too. Hey, more chances to win. I'd love that. 1.7 billion. My goodness. Let's look at what we have weather-wise. Golden sunshine, what we had across the area. So here's a cold front that came through the area. That brought us the rain. Much needed rain that came early this morning, late last night, and the next chance of rain. Maybe not only days, but a couple weeks away. So hang in there. It's going to be dry for quite some time. Dry weather across the area right now. No rain for tonight. No rain for Friday or into Saturday, but we did get some beneficial rainfall. If you're looking at the rainfall reports over the past 24 hours, Napoleon top of the charts, about 0.8 of an inch of rain. Oregon, just about 0.8 as well. Defiance, 2/3 of an inch. Toledo to Wauseon, 0.6 of an inch. And over toward BG, just over 1/2 an inch of rainfall. And slightly below 1/2 an inch, a little over 0.4 from Ottawa, Findlay over toward Oak Harbor. So everybody got rain last night and this morning. And we soaked up every drop that we could with a moderate drought now developing across the area. We're back at the 50s, breezy weather already first thing out the door on our Friday morning. We're at around 70 for recess. It is going to be outdoor recess, but the kids are going to be hanging on because those winds will be gusty, 30 to 35 miles per hour. That should allow us to pop into the low 70s as we get into the afternoon. So we have dry weather tonight in the hour-by-hour forecast. Notice those shower chances, they scoot well to the north. We're not going to see a drop of rain out of that. The atmosphere is just too dry to allow any additional rain on Friday. The wind is what you're going to feel. That's signs of a cold front coming through and no rain out there Friday and into Saturday. Now, we will start the day back in the 50s, actually rising steadily to the mid-50s by 8 a.m., reaching into the low to mid-70s, and it will be windy through the afternoon. Keep that in mind for the kickers tomorrow night for our Big Board Friday. Could be a bit of a tricky kicking game as we have the winds that will pick up. 66 kickoff time. Have the sweatshirts and jackets because as we start halftime, we're going to be dropping back into the upper 50s and could even end some of the games low to mid 50s between about 9 and 10 p.m. So it will turn cooler fairly quickly as we go into our Friday night. 68 the high on Saturday, 67 Sunday, cooler feel. It is going to be a fall chill that's going to be out there, especially in the morning hours. We're going to be back in the 40s for overnight lows both weekend days. Still going to be windy on Friday. 74 is the daytime high, 68 on Saturday, dry weather Saturday and Sunday. And I'll just get right to the chase here. We don't have any chance of rain out there the next 10 days. So the moderate drought we are experiencing likely to expand as we go through the weekend and into next week. We're back to 70 on Monday, mostly sunny skies into Tuesday, partly sunny Wednesday, upper 70s. A weak front Wednesday, again, unlikely to bring rain, upper 70s for Thursday and Friday. And then we do edge back to the lower 80s by next weekend. So 60s this weekend, 80s the following weekend as we flip back toward a warmer summer feeling pattern. That's a look at your 10-day forecast. Kaylee, back over to you.
All right, thanks, Chris. Over on the West Coast, a snorkeler came across an underwater wonderland across the ocean floor. Our sister station in San Diego has the story. Many of us have picked up sand dollars off of the beach, but this video that a snorkeler captured changes everything. What looks like a field of sand dollars off La Jolla shores is actually a protected ecosystem that could cost you big if you disturb it.
20 feet beneath La Jolla shores, snorkeler Allison Wylot discovered something extraordinary.
They were there by the millions. I mean, just as far as you could see and then beyond.
Her viral video captured thousands of living sand dollars stretching a quarter mile across the ocean floor, their deep purple color and moving hair-like spines proving they're very much alive.
And they're this deep purple, and they've got all these hairs on them moving around, and they're so cool.
But here's what most people may not know. Sand dollars are not made of sand at all. They're sea urchins that plant themselves vertically in the seafloor.
So the eccentric sand dollar is what they're called because this petal-shaped structure is a little bit off-center, and these animals will put their heads in the sand. They'll intentionally stand upright a bit to get access to flowing particles for feeding.
Dr. Charlotte Seed says that they're ecosystem engineers. Kelp bass use them as scratching posts to remove parasites, and they provide habitat for other marine life.
If you're a snorkeler or a scuba diver and you have the chance to observe, you'll see all kinds of small, also wonderful overlooked life among these sand dollars.
Here's the key takeaway. If you find live sand dollars, leave them alone. Taking anything from protected areas like La Jolla shores, dead or alive, can result in serious fines.
But when you see live animals, they don't really want to be picked up. They're not souvenirs. They're not made of sand.
So how do you tell if they're alive?
If they're smooth and white, then that's the dead internal skeleton. So they're no longer with us. But if they're purple, they have a chance.
For Allison, discoveries like this remind us why protecting these underwater ecosystem matters, and that there's still so much to learn about the ocean in our own backyard.
I love sharing the wonders of the ocean.
That was Abby Black at our sister station at CBS 8 in San Diego.
I mean, those are some pretty hefty charges, and you know, we're not looking to ruin a bunch of kids' lives by doing what they're doing. They just need to understand.
A warning tonight from police. It's about a video that's being shared throughout different area school districts. What the video shows coming up. Plus, a major ruling. We've got new information tonight in the case of a dad accused of killing his teenage daughter. We're thankful you're here with us for WTOL 11 Plus. Now we're breaking down your top stories for the night. We have new details in the case of Darnell Jones Ogletree, the man accused of murdering his teenage daughter. A judge denied a motion to dismiss the death penalty specifications for Jones. The motion was filed by Jones's attorneys on July 15th. The state filed its opposition weeks later. A court document filed yesterday from the judge says all issues raised by the defense have been rejected. Jones is facing charges of aggravated murder, rape, kidnapping, and more in the death of 13-year-old Kimani Lateef. A warning tonight for teens who use social media. 2 Perkins Township students are facing felony charges after an explicit Snapchat video spread across 5 school districts. Police say what started as a private message between a couple quickly turned into a crime affecting hundreds of students. Perkins police says the case started when an 18-year-old student and his 16-year-old girlfriend exchanged sexually explicit videos on Snapchat. While the relationship itself is legal, detectives say once those videos were sent, the 18-year-old was breaking the law. The case took a turn when a 14-year-old friend who had the girl's Snapchat login found one of those clips and started to share it. That video then spread to hundreds of students.
I mean, those are some pretty hefty charges, and we're not looking to ruin a bunch of kids' lives by doing what they're doing. They just need to understand.
The 18-year-old has been charged in municipal court, while the 14-year-old is facing the same felony charges in juvenile court. Police say anyone else who shares the video could also face charges. The Renaissance Toledo in downtown is up for sale. The hotel has been listed on a commercial real estate website. The listing cites the $4.3 million renovation completed since 2019. However, there was not a listed sale price included in the posting. We have plenty of streaming programs here on WTOL 11 Plus. On this week's episode of Good Day After the Show, Amanda Faye sits down with Brianna Stewart of Jera's Heavenly Sweet Bakery on Bancroft Street. The two talked about how her mom was a reporter and her dad was an engineer here for many years, how she studied communications, but ultimately decided to open a bakery with her mom.
Your parents worked in this business.
Both of them did, yes.
Yeah.
Yep, my dad worked in production for 29 years, and so ironically, I was in a lot of commercials that WTOL made. So me and my siblings were always in commercials growing up. So I've been used to being on camera for a long time now. And my mom was a reporter, so I've just gotten used to talking to people and being on cameras for a long time.
Did those commercials run for like ever? And you're like, I am like 10 years older than that now.
Yes, they did.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Like I was a little kid, and that's
yeah, but it was still cool. I always appreciated the opportunity. It was cool to get to be around people and to meet some of the other reporters who've been around for a while, some of the anchors who, like Jerry Anderson, met him growing up, knew him. Chris Peterson, we knew her growing up a lot too. So it was very cool.
Yeah. Well, you decided to not do that career path though. You did study communications at the University of Toledo, so a Rocket fan.
I sure am, TOL.
EDO. So you were thinking about doing marketing or PR, but you're baking.
I'm baking. How did that happen? Well, with a mother like Jera Stewart, who has been baking for my whole life as well, because that's her true passion. She did reporting, but she loved baking. I think it was inevitable that somehow all the things would come together to make what is my life now of working at the bakery, but also doing some content creation on front and back end of things. So I'm just an amalgamation of my parents, and I think that's really cool.
I think it is too, and I'm sure that they love that as well. So you are doing, you have a show called Black Girl Baking, right?
Yes. Yep.
And that's on YouTube?
Sure is, Black Girl Baking Show.
And what do you do on the show?
Whatever I want, really. Kind of like today with the role.
Yeah.
I just make new things that I've never tried before. I like to try some unique flavor combinations at times, and just try it for the first time on camera and see what happens. If it's horrible, it's horrible. That's just life.
But she'll be honest about it. We actually have a little clip that we want to show.
Dun 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 dun. Sometimes things are choppy, sometimes I mess up, sometimes I forget to start the camera, so I just gotta roll with the punches.
I was wondering that. Do you you shoot it yourself on with a phone or what?
I have a camera now. I got a camera.
Okay.
For the first 3 or so years, I was shooting it on an iPad.
Okay.
In my mom's kitchen. And then editing right on the iPad and uploading from the iPad. So now I have a camera and that helps.
Okay.
And I edit on the iPad too.
Wow.
Yep. I have to remember to get my microphones turned on, plugged in, get the lights set up, run around, hit the record button, hit the stop button. It's a lot. It is a production.
You do it all by yourself.
Yeah, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, and you've made all kinds of delicious and maybe not as successful things on the show.
For sure.
You can watch the full episode of Good Day After the Show starting tomorrow right here on WTOL 11+. A New Jersey man is showing off his dancing skills, protesting the high property taxes in town. Check this out. Philly performed a backspin before asking council members for an explanation. After saying his piece, he picked up where he left off, moonwalking. Oh, there's the backspin right there. Well, he did moonwalk away from the podium. Philly's floor show was not a one-time thing, though. Town hall members say they are very familiar with the moves. One town official thanked Philly. Oh, yeah. Thanked Philly for his, quote, interpretive dance. The crowd seems like they've seen this 100 times, too. Like, no one's cheering him on.
Oh, they're in an uproar. Do you see the energy in that in the stands there?
How are they not like, this man's rolling his eyes. I feel like they've seen this before. Because if this happened at Toledo City Council, I would be cracking up.
Like, I think he got up and he's like, that didn't go over so well.
No. Might be his last time doing those dances in Town Hall.
He made a splash.
Yeah, he did. Thanks for joining us here on WTOL 11+ now. We'll see you back here tomorrow night. Have a good night.